This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
It is Monday on the After Party Live. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking a deep breath with me. A lot of politics going on. A lot of ugliness over the weekend, a lot of deaths over the weekend. I think we need to put our mind elsewhere, kind of tuck into all these stories that maybe, I don't know if I want to call them a diversion, but something interesting, some other things to note. Some things may lift your spirits, some things may not, but at least we're not immersed in all the ugliness. So let's get to it. If I could, before we do though, ask you to click the like button and the subscribe button. Really appreciate that, as it helps the show grow and helps me keep this thing rolling. Thank you to everyone who has contributed via PayPal and via the super stickers. You guys are amazing. Really appreciate it. All right. And Teacher Lori says, I think I'm just out for the day. Even non-political shows like this need to completely disengage. Sometimes you have to do it, Teacher Lori. Sometimes you just need to think, put your head in a story or a good book or nap or whatever it is that, you need to do. But I hear you. It's been quite the weekend. Yeah. Okay, let's get in. Hi, Liz. How are you? Yay. Again, thank you for waiting. I see. Where's Kim? Mindy says, here I am. We have a little after show meeting at the Mark Thompson show. So sometimes it takes me a second to hop over here. All right, let's get into these stories because I've got some good ones for you. And the first is about a water balloon fight. Did you hear about this? They were trying in the city of Stockton to do this water balloon fight that they thought was going to set records. Well, it didn't. They thought there was going to be 500,000 water balloons in Stockton. It's weird. I'm weird. I was thinking that my first thought was, all that debris, all that garbage, all the rubber, who's going to pick all that up? Such a mom thing to think. The whole point of this, though, was nonviolence. Right? That was sponsored by this group that's called Balloons Not Bullets. And so they wanted balloons over bullets, my bad, balloons over bullets. And they wanted to get young people to have a happy diversion, to do something summery and fun. You could argue that throwing water balloons at people is violent, but, something a little more lighthearted, not shooting at each other and standing in the sweltering heat where, violence is often more pronounced in the hotter months. So get people away from that, get them thinking about something different. This happened at the San Joaquin County Fairgrounds on Saturday. They had 202,400 water balloons. About 3,000 people came out for the water balloon fight. It was this, again, celebration of nonviolence. They didn't quite hit the 10,000 people that they had wanted, 3,000 only, and they didn't reach the 209,000 water balloons that would have been necessary to break the record. They were close, though. 202,400 is what they hit. But they said it was really fun. People had a blast with these water balloons. They chose laughter and joy over violence. And what the balloons over bullets people said is that this event is a symbol of peace for Stockton. And Stockton can be pretty rough. They've done this every year since 2018, trying to set the tone for summer, encourage people, especially young people, to be more positive. They had, though, these giant slip and slide, dunk tanks, water inflatables, games, and music. And so they called it Soak City. So it's kind of a big, fun event. Again, not a world record, but something fun. So there you go. What about this? This American Kestrel got loose in a city hall. And kind of a sketchy situation. They had to go in, they had to capture it. I believe this happened in Winnipeg, Winnipeg City Hall in Manitoba, and this bird of prey found itself in a stairwell in this area, and I have the video of the capture. So here's what happened. They had to go in there, and I guess it was kind of hard to capture him, but eventually they got him right in the net, and later they have a close-up of this little bird, and he's so beautiful. Really, really beautiful creature. So this is what happened. This is in, again, City Hall in Winnipeg in Manitoba. The City of Winnipeg Animal Services said this young American kestrel was spotted inside of the stairwell. They went to the scene. They said, but they don't think he was in the stairwell that long because so many people are in there, they would have seen him. So yeah, such a beautiful bird. They took him to the vet hospital. He's totally fine. And then he was transferred to a wildlife rehab center. And it looks like this was an immature teenage bird that was still learning to fly and learning how to hunt. So they're going to release it back into the wild once it gains a little weight, and all is well there. This is another animal story for you about the capture of a wallaby. This craziness happened in the state of Washington. They tackled this wallaby on the loose in Washington. They said that deputies got a taste of the outback. The Pierce County Sheriff's Department and troopers responded early Sunday to report of a traffic hazard. The officers locate the animal identified as a wallaby. They described it as having a 2.5-foot long tail with big ears and tiny forearms. And here's what it looked like when they tried to go out there and capture this guy. I'm sure this is not, if you're an officer in the state of Washington, not necessarily what you think your Sunday is going to look like. But here's what happened. Wild.
Oh. Oh no.
Oh no, he's hopping around.
Oh.
Like, how do you capture one of those? Uh-oh. There he goes. He's on the move. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Eventually, I guess they did capture him. So that's the good part. But wow. Yeah, they had to tackle him, had to get him back in to custody, I guess you could say, and finally took him to the place where you take animals, the animal welfare department. They tackled him finally. So this animal was described again as having big ears and tiny forearms. Finally, they tackle him. He's returned to his home at the Debbie Doolittle Petting Zoo in Parkland. And the reporter, though, the person that answered the phone there said he didn't belong there. So I don't know if they just took him in or what happened or where he came from. But yeah, he's safe and off the streets there. Here's a story that you might appreciate. Look at these guys, NASA's astronauts. They have been having a problem when it comes to NASA about what exactly to do when astronauts have to urinate. What to do? Well, enter Cornell researchers, and they have unveiled a urine collection filtration system for astronauts on astronaut spacesuits. Look at these astronauts. They look pretty happy, right? The NASA astronauts are set to orbit the moon in 2025 and land in the South Pole in 2026. And when they're suited up, they've been having an issue about what to do when you gotta go. Well, this new U.S.-developed system by researchers at Cornell collects and then recycles the wastewater into potable water inside their spacesuit. The still suits, yeah, they have this prototype urine collection filtration system. They say it replaces the uncomfortable and unhygienic adult diaper type maximum absorbency garment that has been worn for generations by astronauts since the late 70s. And this design is an undergarment made of multiple layers of flexible fabric connected to a gender-specific shaped collection silicone cup molded to enclose the genitalia from where the urine is sucked away by a vacuum pump and activated by a moisture-sensitive tag, detailed in an experimental study. It's been published in a peer-reviewed journal called Frontiers in Space Technologies. So they have this vacuum-based external catheter leading to a combined forward-reverse osmosis unit, providing continuous supply of drinkable water with multiple safety mechanisms to ensure the astronauts' well-being. What? That's what I'd say if I'm an astronaut. What? You want me to do what? Yeah. The research done at Weill Cornell Medicine and Cornell University, and they're going to bring this to market. It's reportedly the old system has leaked and caused health issues for astronauts, and they only have at present time 1 liter of water available in their in-suit drink bags, which is, they say, insufficient for their planned longer lasting lunar spacewalks, which can last up to 10 hours and even up to 24 hours in an emergency. So the urine is recycled via an 87% efficient 2-step filtration system that uses a concentration gradient to remove the water from urine with a pump to split water from salt. Then the purified water is enriched in electrolytes and pumped into an in-suit drinking bag with a turnaround time for 17 ounces of waste, about 5 minutes. So that's pretty good. It's a 40 amp hour battery powered system that integrates control pumps, sensors, and a liquid crystal display screen. It weighs a little over 17 pounds. They're going to try to test it in space, simulated conditions, and then eventually on actual spacewalks. What do you think? They say that the simulated space testing will make sure that it's functional and safe before it's deployed in actual space missions. But if you're an astronaut, are you thinking, yeah, bring me the filtered water? I don't know. Go into the chat. What do you think? So clean, you can drink it. Yuck. Bear Grylls approved. No. Mo says this should be subject to ultraviolet light as added purification. I don't know how they do that in the suit. I don't know. I don't think it's maybe, but not by astronauts. I don't think so. Yeah. Heather says the water recycling on the International Space Station is pretty gnarly too. If it's external, it's not, well, it's an external catheter is what they say. It's not the tube. It's not an internal tube, but it's a vacuum thing that sucks it out of you, I guess. You're an astronaut. That's pretty good. Chris says, why didn't I become an astronaut? Yikes. Oh, Heather to Eric says, yes, they do it on the International Space Station. So this would be an individual. At least you're drinking your own, right? You're not drinking the other guys. On the International Space Station, it's probably like a collection of everyone's that is being filtered and whatever. This is your own. So, you know, look at that. They look happy. I don't know if I'm happy. Yikes. All right. There's a study about secondhand smoke. And it turns out that secondhand smoke from the traditional cigarette is worse than the secondhand smoke from vapes. This in terms of exposing children to nicotine. So as someone who always, if they saw someone smoking whatever kind of smoke and whatever device it came from, would always go around, even across the street with my stroller so my kids didn't breathe it in. They say children exposed to vaping indoors absorb less than 1/7 the amount of nicotine as kids exposed to indoor smoking. This according to blood tests they've done. Now, I would argue, however much less it is, 0 is the preferred amount. Secondhand exposures to harmful substances and e-cigarettes likely would be even lower, researchers said, given vaping contains similar levels of nicotine, but only a fraction of the toxins and carcinogens found in tobacco smoke. So the paper that has been written upon this suggests that concerns about secondhand vaping are overstated, while secondhand exposure to toxic substances are likely very low. The study done by the University College London Institute of Epidemiology and Healthcare. The findings, according to the study, confirm the risks of smoking indoors around children should be avoided at all costs, but secondhand vaping still exposes children to more harmful substances than no vaping or no smoking exposure at all. It's best to avoid indoor vaping around children too. And they looked at blood tests of 1,800 kids in the United States from ages 3 to 11 between 2017 and 2020 as part of this annual federal health survey. And the blood tests were looking at levels of something called cotinine, which is a chemical that the body produces after exposure to nicotine. Kids that were exposed to indoor vaping absorbed 84% less nicotine than kids that were exposed to indoor smoking. Children exposed to neither absorbed 97% less nicotine. The lower levels of nicotine exposure could be explained by differences between vaping and smoking. So this is how it works, they say. Airborne nicotine is emitted when smokers breathe out, and that it's also found in the smoke coming from the lighted end of the cigarette. But e-cigarettes only emit nicotine when the vapors exhale. So it's like double the impact there, right? Yeah. The study, they say, shows using data from the real world rather than an artificial lab setting that nicotine absorption is much lower from secondhand vapors than secondhand smokers. Yeah. It was published, by the way, this Thursday in the JAMA Network Open, if you're interested in more information on that. Let's talk about being lonely. Oh, somebody alone and sad. This is one of the reasons I love this show, because we get time to spend together, to chat with each other, to interact with each other. And that's really shown to be beneficial to our health. This survey, though, has showed 1 in 5 people experience loneliness worldwide. They did a Gallup survey that was published last week on Wednesday. 23% of people said they felt lonely a lot the previous day. And those experiencing loneliness often felt physical pain, worry, sadness, stress, and anger. Beyond the emotional toll, according to doctors, loneliness is a medical problem that should be taken very seriously. And this is crazy. Listen to this. As you think you just feel sad and maybe a little down, but they say it's the equivalent of having someone smoke 15 cigarettes a day, that it affects your mind and your body, predisposes you to anxiety and depression, increases the risk for heart disease by 30%, for stroke 50%, for dementia, and 60% for premature mortality. But here's the good news. Doctors say there is a way to fight loneliness. They say, look at the quality of your relationships. Do I feel seen? Do I feel validated? Do I feel appreciated? So I want you all to know that you are validated. Whatever you say here is appreciated. You are appreciated for even being here. What does that help with the loneliness? I don't know, but I'm going to try. They say we want you to have a mix of micro connections. So talk to your barista, talk to your dog walker, but then deep and meaningful connections in your life as well, where you can feel vulnerable and open up to actually share parts of yourself. This is interesting too, because you'd think that maybe it'd be older folks that have health issues, but the survey showed loneliness is worse for young Americans than older ones. And here's why, and I have to really fight this, really fight it. They say it's really unfortunate that as much as we want our children to succeed, the emphasis, according to this doctor, is being put on academic achievement. And for kids, they're looking at financial achievement, and a lot of these goals, these milestones that were possible for us years ago, aren't possible for them. Mixing in climate change and war, they're feeling alienated, they're feeling disconnected, and that the places they would turn to, friends, parents, coaches, are no longer sources of safe havens. They're sources of stress because of the competition to succeed. So this doctor said, when I speak to high school students, they say, I can't remember the last time I did something fun, just for the sake of fun and not for the sake of my resume. They say you should schedule socialization, just like it was a medical appointment, because your life depends on it, the quality of life depends on it, and the quality of relationships. So, I mean, it's really a hard one when you talk about young people, because you want your kids to succeed. You know that if you don't push them in some ways, that they won't understand that, that they won't have choices at the end of high school if they don't succeed. But on the other hand, you want them to have good mental health and friendships and do things for fun, not just do things because it's going to look good on your college resume. So, something to all keep in mind. This is fun. Let's go back to fun stuff. How about this big old pizza party with a connection to San Francisco, actually? Yeah. They have this big pizza party, world record breaking pizza party aboard multiple cruise ships. The Princess Cruises coordinated its fleet of love boats to break the Guinness World Record for the largest pizza party at multiple venues. They teamed up with chef Tony Gemignani of Tony's Pizza in San Francisco. They also have a Tony's Pizza in Rohnert Park at the casino. Not that I hang out at the casino, but I have been there just to go to Tony's Pizza. They provided, at Tony's Pizza, pizzas across the Princess fleet to attempt this record on Friday. And a Guinness World Records adjudicator confirmed more than 60,000 slices were served across the cruise line, successfully setting the record for the world's largest pizza party at multiple venues. The food service team at Princess said the record attempt required 6,512 pounds of dough, 3,417 pounds of flour, almost 1,400 pounds of pepperoni, and 2,300 pounds of cheese. So, the whole thing was done in celebration of these new pizzas. The creation of 2 new Princess exclusive pizzas by Tony's Pizzas in San Francisco. So the new pizzas have sopressata sausage, hot honey, agave pesto, and fresh goat cheese. And they're being rolled out at this restaurant aboard the Princess cruise ship called Alfredo's. So, yeah, it's a good way. I mean, I guess if you're going to do a world record breaking attempt, you might as well try to put it in with some type of, advertising you want to do. Can we go back to the moon for a minute? Check out this moon cave. It's interesting looking, and they think it could be a base for future astronauts. Underground caves on the moon could be suitable for habitation purposes. There's an underground cave stretching for tens of meters below an open pit on the moon. It has been discovered and could be a potential base for future astronauts. It's the first lunar tunnel to be found and could be accessible to humans. I wonder what else is under there. A hollowed out passage lies beneath this pit in the Sea of Tranquility, which is a dark region on the near side of the moon, which is apparently visible with the naked eye. The region is also where the first humans on the moon, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, touched down in 1969. So this cave is estimated to be about 30 to 80 meters long, 98 to 262 feet, about 147 feet wide, and goes down about 436 to 557 feet below the surface of the moon. Previous caves found on the moon don't feature any entry points, according to scientists. They think it's a milestone discovery, and they were glad to make the discovery before sending the first crewed mission to the moon in more than 50 years. So, yeah, the moon is hostile to human life, its surface exposed to powerful levels of cosmic radiation. But scientists looking at this cave think the underground caves could be suitable for habitation purposes. For the first time, according to Leonardo Carrer, who's an assistant professor at the University of Trento in Italy, we have located and accurately mapped a cave that is actually accessible from a pit on the lunar surface. We were able, he said, to obtain the first 3D model of a part of the cave's actual shape. Building a base on the surface of the moon requires highly complex engineering solutions which may be less effective than what's already provided by nature. And you remember we were looking at the lunar Legos that they were going to take space dust and they were going to somehow mold them into these snappable shapes like Legos. They could just click them together and build some type of moon building for astronauts. Well, this is you wouldn't have to do that, I guess, although maybe you could build deep inside. I don't know. Look how far this thing goes down. Let me show you a different picture. I mean, I don't know if I'm good thing I'm not an astronaut. I'm never doing moon travel. I mean, I don't think so. Inside the moon, but look how far down it goes. There's the pit, and there's how far down. So, yeah. These caves have been theorized about for more than 50 years, but he said it's the first time they've ever actually demonstrated their existence. The surface of the moon is exposed to cosmic radiation that's up to 150 times more powerful than Earth, so that's not going to work. It's also vulnerable to frequent meteorite impacts and extreme temperatures as well. Research done before this suggested that these kinds of underground caves have an average temperature that may be more suitable for astronauts. So they would have to require protection from that harsh environment, and they think that these moon caves could be the answer. The lunar caves, they think, are actually ancient lava tubes created by volcanic activity billions of years ago, and that the moon pits form when ceilings of lava tubes collapse. If you're interested in more on this study about the moon caves, you can check it out in the journal Nature Astronomy. They re-released radar data gathered by NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter in 2009 as part of the study into moon caves. I have to tell you that I'm fascinated about moon caves. I don't want to go in one, but I'm kind of fascinated about it. I don't know. What if that's the answer? We've talked a lot on this show about these health things, these gadgets, watches and necklaces and what, now we have these rings. And we kind of touched on this before, but now the Samsung is out with their ring. You can go buy the Galaxy Ring, Samsung Galaxy Ring. It's not cheap, a little more than $400. It comes with a battery life of up to 7 days. It's designed to be worn 24 hours a day. And it helps you monitor your health stats during the day and at night when you're asleep as well. So Samsung is now the first tech giant to release a smart ring. It tracks your sleep. It tracks your movement. It can track your menstrual period if you're a lady. It can track your heart rate. They released it for sale to the public on Tuesday, part of the latest wearable technology. They also announced their Galaxy Watch Ultra. But this ring has a lot of people going, maybe I could do that. It comes in a stylish gold, silver, or black, 9 different sizes, and it uses AI to analyze your biometric data. And then it connects that to the Samsung Health app. Do you think this is like wearing a chip? And then, they say the next thing that's going to happen to us is we're going to have these chips embedded in us. So, and here's what I want to know. If this information is then streamed over to your Samsung Health app, who else is it streamed to? Who else is seeing it? What other website collects this data? Does your insurance company then know everything? I have privacy concerns. A away from fitness, Samsung says users can also take photos or snooze alarm clocks by pinching their fingers together. This is going to be the new, what do they say? People have injuries from the holding their phone. We're going to have finger muscle issues from the pinch movement. I don't know. The Samsung Health app has the ability to then assess your well-being and deliver your energy score. It ranges from 1 to 100, and then it makes recommendations like a virtual fitness coach. Like, hey, Teacher Lori, you need to get up and move around a little bit right now. Hey, Kim, maybe you should stop shoving chocolate in your face. These kinds of things. I don't know. Sorry for picking on you, Lori. I know you're moving around just enough. No problem. The last time we talked about this, the soccer players in England, the footballers were wearing them. And the decision to release this is being called an interesting bet by industry analysts. They say the smart ring has a strong selling point because a lot of people don't wear smartwatches to bed, and so they're missing out on all that sleep data, which could be potentially useful. But it's still a risky launch because of the complexities around the tech. They think it's a logistical nightmare considering smart rings typically come in 9 different sizes and numerous colors. And so consumers require a sizing kit to get their finger size before they make a purchase. You can't just order it online. Having strong retail partners or a comprehensive retail network would be essential for something like the Samsung Galaxy Ring to achieve success. And that's not the way a lot of people are buying things nowadays. But they're estimating about 4 million smart rings will be sold in 2025. That's a lot less than the 250 million smartwatches. Athletes that have used them, the footballers, say they're a lot more convenient, which means we'll actually use them. So, are you guys going to get a smart ring? Are you not wanting that on your hand? Do you have privacy concerns? I don't know. Eric says, depends on the material. I can't wear a Fitbit. My sweat degrades the glue and wrecks it. Okay, so maybe this ring is the good thing for you. Donald says, I wear an Apple Watch and I use it all the time to track my heart rate, my workouts, associated calories burned, and the timer is very handy for cooking. Awesome. Susan's like, no, I don't want the smart ring. My daughter also, Donald, uses the Apple Watch, and she'll look at the watch in the afternoon and go, I have to close my circle, which means she didn't quite get enough steps in or exercise in to close her fitness loop for the day. So for her, it's something that's positive and something that she uses, and I think that's great. Mindy says, not too much smart stuff. I like to leave the tech at home. Yeah. Heather says, my Fitbit is enough monitoring for me. It's interesting. I'll see. Doug is agreeing with me that having concerns is legitimate. I just wonder, because, this stuff is going straight from the ring to the app. I just wonder who has access. Murphy says, I gain and lose weight, volume in my fingers. Oh, how do you get the ring off your finger if it swells? How do you get it on if you're bloated? I wonder if you have to wear it on a certain finger too, Murphy. Like, what if your ring finger is bloated? So you try to then put it on a different finger. Does that still work? I don't know. Yeah, a lot of questions. I don't know. And some people do have that as well, where your fingers, constantly are different shape. Heather says there used to be a company called Ringly that made fitness jewelry that was actually cute and went out of business. Aw. Deidre doesn't wear rings. I lost my middle finger to a ring. Oh no. Are you middle fingerless? Yikes. I'm sorry about that, Deidre. That's a bummer. Yeah. Eric talks about wedding rings. When I was pregnant, my fingers really swelled and I took my wedding ring off. And then after I had my baby, I put it back on and I kept scratching my daughter with it. And so I took it off and then I just don't wear it. So I don't know. Murphy loves closing her watch circles. Yeah, it becomes a thing. And I'll tell you, it's really worked out well for her. So I don't know. We'll see if these things take off, if they're popular. I don't know if they will be. There is a new study out that has the best cities in which to be a dog owner. Now, we've seen some of these before, but I thought it would be helpful to talk about it today because some California cities actually made the list. And so I thought we could take a look and see. Here, I have a picture of dog for you. Oh, I mean, who doesn't love this little pupper? Gotta have him in there. So it's the best cities for, oh, look how cute he is. It's the best cities for dogs in America. And the statistics come from PetMD. They say more than 65 million U.S. households have a dog. And that pet ownership and pet insurance signups have increased significantly since 2020. They analyzed a database of registered insured dogs, broke dog ownership down to a city level, and then they found the 25 most popular cities for dogs in America. And atop the list, Los Angeles is the top city in which to own a dog. Yeah. They compared it to 320 households in the city that had cats as well. But Los Angeles comes in first, even though it only came in 33rd on the U.S. News and World Report's top 50 U.S. cities for dog owners. But Los Angeles is the home to the most dogs of any city in the country. 561,176 residents of Los Angeles have a dog. Miami, 7 Houston, 8 Brooklyn, 9 Portland, 10th is San Francisco. And then it goes on. Sacramento is 19th on the list. That's the other California city that's mentioned. So if you're looking for the full report, you can check it out on KTLA. But those are the top cities in America to have dogs, I guess. It doesn't say if they looked at whether there's a lot of dog parks nearby or, ample places to buy good pet food. They didn't use the breakdowns of that type of thing or their, why they chose those cities. So it just may be that it's the top city because there's the most dogs living there. I don't know. But I could sure look at that little picture all day long. Here's a Bay Area related story, I guess you could say. I was looking at this earlier and, it's about jerseys and the top NFL jerseys. I don't get really sporty on this show, but I just thought it was interesting that the most sought after NFL jerseys are from the 49ers. They didn't win the Super Bowl. That was the Chiefs. But still, the 49er jerseys are the most in-demand gear in America. They haven't won the Super Bowl in nearly 3 decades. The second, according to this is, let me say that again. So the study was done by Shirt Max. They're a t-shirt wholesaler. And they looked at the 152 sports teams in the NFL, the NBA, MLB, NHL, MLS, all of them, all the sports abbreviations. And the state of California tops the list, except for hockey, where the Seattle Kraken tops the jersey sales. LA Galaxy jerseys dominate jersey searches across American soccer. For Major League Baseball, the Los Angeles Dodgers jersey is the most searched. For NBA jerseys, the Los Angeles Lakers have the highest search. The Dallas Cowboys, second in demand when it comes to the NFL. The Chiefs, even though they won the Super Bowl, 4th most in demand. 6 of the 10 teams had the consecutive Super Bowl wins. So here's the rankings. The most in-demand NFL jerseys, the 49ers. 2nd, Cowboys. 3rd, Philadelphia Eagles. 4th, Kansas City Chiefs. 5th, Seattle Seahawks, 6, Detroit Lions, 7, Las Vegas Raiders, 8, Pittsburgh Steelers, 9, Miami Dolphins, 10, Green Bay Packers. So they use the average volume Google keyword planner database on searches over 12 months between June of 2023 and May of 2024 in order to reveal the rankings of the most popular sports jerseys in 44 states. So the 49ers are the ones that come out victorious in that race, if there was a race. I guess that's pretty good. Yeah. There's Kittle signing his jersey. I don't have a lot of sports gear. I did buy recently, because I have a son, I bought my son a Warrior sweatshirt that was really expensive. And then when the 49ers won the Super Bowl, they had t-shirts for sale, like on a front table at a little store. And I bought him a 49ers t-shirt as well. And he has a Steph Curry shirt. But we're not really big sports gear purchasers. I know at Nikki's house, she'd be I did that story for Nikki because I know she'd be excited to hear it. So pretty good. Well, that is the show. Thank you for spending this time. I hope that maybe you're a little less lonely afterward, that you've had a chance to chat. Ooh, Kittle. Oh, look, Mindy likes it. Okay, good. Then I'm glad I did a sports story. I never know how that's going to go over. So Eric says, my workout is playing Beat Saber on virtual reality. It burns a lot of calories. Excellent. Nice. Walter used to be a Cowboys fan when he lived in Dallas. Nice. Oh, yeah, I bet waitressing burns a lot of calories as well. 49ers won the Super Bowl while your son was alive? No, I'm sorry. Did I misspoke? They won the championship. It was the most recent time when they won the championship, and I think they were going to a Super Bowl. Yeah, I think that's why I bought it. You're right. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Don't ask me sports questions. I'll get it wrong every single time. Every time. That's why I don't do a lot of sports. Although I have been on KMBR before, but if I wrote it and then I have someone else check it, then I can at least read it and I know it's right. So the problem with that was always pronouncing names, because it's like doing news when you pronounce the name of a place wrong. If you pronounce an athlete's name wrong, then everyone knows, like, oh, she's not very sporty. They know right away that it's incorrect, and the phones start ringing, so you have to get everything right. Yeah. Which is, by the way, still owned by Cumulus and still in the same building as the old KGO. And interesting to note, the old KGO studio is now the KNBR studio. See how that worked out? Yes, it did. Well, that is the show. Please click the like button. Please click subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow for Travel Tuesday. If you have any ideas about where you'd like to go virtually, make sure you send them to kim@theafterparty.live or kimmcallister@gmail.com. 2 M's, 2 C's, 2 L's. And thank you guys so much for all the things that you do send. Want to thank so much. Hold on, let me get back to it. Yay, Doug, who throws down a $5 super sticker for today. Really, really appreciate it. The only one that came in, and so huge thank you. I would thank you no matter how many came in, but I really appreciate the help on that. All right, everybody, it's time to go. So have a great rest of your Monday. Try to not immerse yourself in politics. We'll meet you back here for I got another one. Look at me. Look at you, Luis, $5, the After Party Live, a cure for loneliness with no side effects. Thank you, Luis. This is really, really nice. Appreciate it. The KSFO studio was right next door to the KGO studio, and then they went to syndicated programming. They kind of took the studio away, so now it's just this little place where a board op sits and pushes buttons. So it's a different animal now. I know. Radio changed. That's the way it goes. Walter says sports is boring. Now I watch chess and cubing competitions. All right. I don't know. KNX is in Los Angeles. So I have not worked there, but the person who runs it, I used to work with at KGO. It's a small world, right? Okay. Have a great rest of your day. I will be back with you on the Nikki Maduro show tomorrow. We'll talk about the RNC and everything that happened today. And then on the Mark Thompson show, so excited to tell you that we have David K. Johnston on the show. Pat Thurston will stop by to talk politics for a bit as well. It's going to be a really good show. And Jefferson Graham as well tomorrow on the Mark Thompson Show. And then we'll travel virtually and kind of check out for a bit and have a little bit of relaxation here on the After Party Live. Have a great rest of your day. Make it a good one. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.